Hello, this is Ron and Hugh. Welcome back. We are politically challenged. We're going to talk about the conflict between legality and morality. One example would be the Holocaust and all of those Jews that were hidden from the authorities so that they wouldn't be incinerated. Now, legally speaking, we weren't supposed to do that because they were obviously deemed as enemies of the state and they were supposed to be taken away to be sent to those concentration camps, and then, well, some of them were killed. But of course, morally speaking, you shouldn't let the Jews be sent to a concentration camp or sent to their deaths, obviously.
You shouldn't have said anyone, to be honest. Yeah, that's the argument.
Yeah, anybody, obviously. Not just Jewish people. Millions of people did die in the Holocaust who weren't Jewish, but yeah, in a nutshell, all of those people that were hidden from the authorities so that they wouldn't be killed. Now, we'll talk about this for a little bit. Now, how do you feel that there was a conflict between morality and legality?
Well, I think the movie The Pianist, where the guy was basically the guy was basically hiding from basically the authority for ages, and then when he opened the door and the neighbor noticed he was a Jewish person, she pointed out and assuming he was a criminal because there was a mentality that anyone who was Jewish based on the government's suggestions, anyone who's Jewish is a criminal, so must be prosecuted. So they kind of that's how the propaganda. That's basically the propaganda that they had.
Okay, so
it was based on propaganda, which led to legality and stuff.
All right, so within that context, the lady would have seen the supposedly Jewish pianist and automatically saw him as a criminal. So in her mind, she was morally justified in calling him out so that he would be taken away. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, she felt she was right.
Was this movie based on a true story?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Pianist, Adrian Brody.
Okay, sure. I haven't seen it, but sure. Okay. So from that one, so what you're saying is it's a matter of perspective from the perspective of the Jewish pianist. Obviously, he's not a criminal. He just wanted to live his life, and he became an enemy of the state because of who he was. But from the perspective of the lady who called him out, and while she was morally justified, at least she believed she was morally justified in calling him a criminal and ratting on him, as the expression was. Can't think of a better one. But there are other examples. So let's say Anne Frank. I mean, yes, she was one person her and her family were hidden from the authorities so that they wouldn't be taken to concentration camps. Unfortunately, she didn't make it.
Her father did, and then he published a book. So.
Oh yes, her father did, and then I believe he married again, and then.
I wasn't aware of that. I know he was the one who found the diary, and he thought everyone should hear that.
Yes.
It's sad. It's all he had from her.
It is terrible, but it is just one example of why. Like, if Anne Frank wasn't taken away and killed, she'd probably be a celebrity up until she died.
I don't think she would have released her diary.
Okay, if she had.
We watched that movie with that Kevin Spacey was taken out of.
Okay.
The guy. What was the guy that replaced him? I forgot his name.
Yes, I know the movie you're talking about though. The one where.
Millionaire.
Yeah, the one where the billionaire wouldn't give the ransom to release his grandson for his kidnapped grandson. It's like all the money in the world. Yeah.
I saw a thing where it said that Anne Frank and he were the same. They were born in the same age, born in the same year as the actor. Basically,
interesting.
He's like 80 or 90 now. She would be that old now. That's how many years she missed out on, hypothetically. Okay. 70 years of just gone.
Okay, well, that sounds terrible. I mean, if only she was still alive then. I mean, it really does show that. Let's say if she wasn't captured, if nobody found them, she would have been able to live a full life.
Children, grandchildren.
Exactly, she would have lived a full life. If she wanted kids, she could have had kids and grandkids. She could have had a job, a normal life, but instead she was incinerated and killed just because of who she was. Now that's where you have to draw the line between legality and morality.
Well, in that situation, she wasn't killed who she was. She was killed based on what people said she was. They said she was a virus that needed to be exterminated, and that's what people saw her as. She wasn't killed for what she was. She was killed for what she was perceived as.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, with the within the Rwandan genocide, the Tutsi people were called cockroaches. It's easier to kill people if you dehumanize them and take their humanity away and perceive them as something inferior or lesser than human.
Back to World War II as a whole, rather than Holocaust, I mean Hiroshima and Nagasaki were both nuked, based on... Well,
yeah, I mean, we could argue all day long that morally speaking, they shouldn't have been bombed and killed or attacked.
I think it was retaliation for Pearl Harbor, but that's why they were legally sanctioned to do that. Apparently Japan weren't legally sanctioned to attack, but you're attacking someone, there's no legal sanction. But governments and different people can justify their
So within the act of war, obviously there are different rules.
There's a saying that all is fair in love and war, but you have war crimes and you have crimes of passion, so obviously that's not true. Yet certain things are missed out. If you think about the Sri Lanka genocide or the Sri Lankan war, the government and I think the rebel group, don't know their name, can't remember it now, they were accused on being war criminals. Channel 4 did a documentary about a few years ago, I can't really remember.
Okay.
Yeah, lots of people died, and ultimately it's in these situations because the government think they're right and they feel they have kind of like a moral, what do they say, moral high ground, but they feel like they're justified because it's like they justify Hiroshima and Nagasaki because it's a retaliation for Pearl Harbor, and the Japanese can probably justify Pearl Harbor because of the trade agreements because America had closed their trading islands with Thailand and that kind of...
Okay. Well, I don't know much about that, but I do see what you're saying that there are different... Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So do you feel that it was, from the perspective of the people that dropped the bombs, do you think it was morally just... We could argue this all day, but do you believe it was morally justified on their behalf? I mean, do you believe... No, Christ.
It's not. I don't. That's the gist. I know.
No, but if you were in their shoes...
Or let me see. If I'm in their shoes, I'm a soldier who's basically ordered to told to make a command and pull that trigger and drop the bomb. I'm being ordered to do that. But at the end of the day, you're your own person, so... But at that time, they were probably still shooting people for not obeying. So had that person said, no, I'm not nuking them, then they would have been executed, possibly, and then they would have done that too. So the next person would be like, I don't want to get shot, I'll just do it.
So it would have happened regardless?
Yeah, someone would have done it.
Well, maybe that's the reasoning behind it, but...
No, for that individual.
You're saying they wouldn't have tried to morally justify it, it would have been based on the reasoning that if they hadn't have done it, someone else would have, and...
They might be executed because you go AWOL, so the armies are pretty... the military are pretty harsh on punishment, so... I'm not sure if you can still get...
Possibly back then, yes, but not maybe...
I don't think you get executed anymore, do we?
I don't know, but possibly back then it may have been harsher, but I'm not sure. But regarding the conflicts of legality and morality, there are other examples that we could use. There's euthanasia, for instance. I mean, there's somebody that's terminally ill, they want to die, but legally speaking, in this country, in the UK, you can't terminate somebody's life. The doctor would have to do it, and you'd have to sign something, but you can't terminate somebody's life, or you can't kill somebody because they deem that as murder. So
I wouldn't say it's for terminal disease. I would say it's like locked-in syndrome, where basically a person is trapped in their body and
yeah, that's another one.
Where you basically can't move, and in that situation, they just want to die because there's no point in them living. Because let's say like they're 50 and you're making it, that's 30 years of just being trapped in a bed for. I mean, medical science can improve for, let's say, like in 20 years. So they wait for, 20 years, and then they'll spend the last 10 years of their life walking around. They'll miss out 20 years of their life, and 50 is still relatively young. Imagine that happened to us now, and in like 20 years, we'll be in our 50s, in our late 40s, early 50s maybe.
But that would be terrible. Let's not even think about it. But it is, I would understand from that perspective why somebody would want would see no value in their lives, like if they're perpetually just stuck
Well,
in
an
their own
example I
bodies.
gave, just say like if you're 60 or 50, or you basically go like, 10, 20 years it will take for them to figure out how to kill me, maybe. So either way, you're missing out on the last good years you have. So, I mean, some people have actually gone to Swiss, the euthanasia clinic in Swiss, before they go on sick because they just want to avoid getting sick. I mean, it's legal there, so I think it must be. But you're still killing someone at the end of the day.
I mean, yes, technically you are. That's why it's illegal here. I mean, legally speaking, you're not supposed to kill anybody, and morally speaking, you're not supposed to kill anybody. But morally speaking as well, you could argue.
People argue quality of life over life.
Yep, you could argue that. Yes, what you said, and also you could argue that if somebody wants to die, then it's their decision and it's their right to choose when they live or die. That's what I wanted to say. There's also
we did talk about suicide, but obviously in that situation, there are other. In terms of the moral thing, like let's say you have a friend that has locked-in syndrome, do you want them to die? I mean, like imagine like.
no, I don't want them to die, but yeah.
Some still research and different other cures are happening all the time. I mean, they're still hypothetical and they're still there's testing stages and so on. But
yeah.
Would you wait for them? Would you tell them wait 5 more years? You'll be walking in 5 more years, or you'll be like.
It would be in my opinion, it would be up to the person who's suffering from the condition.
They can't talk. They can't. They could blink basically.
So a close family member would have to make the decision for them. What if?
Well, in England you can't execute someone, can you?
No, I mean,
in locked-in syndrome, your brain is still active.
Yes.
I mean, there's people who are brain dead, but people say that's a grey area actually. People say brain dead, you can't switch the machine off.
Okay. But with locked-in syndrome, obviously that's different, and yeah,
they're conscious. They're conscious.
They're conscious. So even if they did want to live or want to die, they wouldn't be able to tell you, right?
What was Stephen Hawking's condition?
He had Lou Gehrig's disease. He had ALS. That's not locked in.
Yeah, but he wasn't really moving around before he died, was he?
Well, not too much, obviously not. But it's a completely different illness. Yeah. But he did live a full life. Well, he lived a long, full life, and he was world-renowned for his work. Yeah. So for somebody with that illness, he did a very good job at, living and doing what he wanted to do.
Yeah. So on another situation, I think anyone that they will probably want, how expensive was this machine? How expensive was that? There's probably a scarcity of machines like that.
I'm not sure how expensive it was, but it was a very good machine. Now, I think to finalize in this short podcast episode, we will talk about
prison. That woman talked about.
Okay, yeah, you can lead the way for that one.
I heard about a case in America where a woman with Crohn's disease was suffering heavily, so she used cannabis oil that she obtained illegally, and it more or less cure the symptoms. I'm not sure about the severity of Crohn's disease, but so she was walking.
Crohn's disease, the disease that Dynamo has?
Yeah,
Yes.
Basically, her symptoms had basically decreased a lot, but when the police found out, and they said because she had children in the house and she got the drugs illegally, I'm guessing. They said because she had them in the house and children could have access to it, she should go to prison, and she did go to prison, even though it cured her.
And what do you think about that?
That's wrong. And also,
wrong for her to be imprisoned, or wrong to have the marijuana?
Well, it was curing her. The problem was that.
Okay, so.
My opinion on drugs is that if there's a medical advantage, I think people should be able to use them.
I mean, that makes sense.
I'm not big on recreational drugs. I don't drink or smoke or anything. But that's someone's choice. But based on these drugs are illegal for a reason. I think marijuana is one of the lighter drugs. I'm not sure what the
That's what some people say, but
I'm not sure what the long-term effects are. I don't know anyone that's done marijuana, so I won't comment on that. But when I saw that story, and I thought she had a sickness and she killed herself. What's the big deal? I mean, I mean, maybe community service, because she probably obtained the marijuana illegally, so, but she was sick. I mean, like, when you know there's a cure right there, anyone would take it. So I don't get why she was.
Yeah, exactly. And also on top of that, I mean, it may not be, she may have obtained the drug or marijuana illegally, but morally speaking, I mean, what are the options? Either she suffers and follows the law, or she,
And in that situation, I'm pretty sure she had a son, so like, who's going to take care of her son if she dies from Crohn's disease?
Yeah, exactly. That's another element. I mean,
now she's in prison and there's no one to take care of her son, so what? So
okay.
she's being punished for trying to be a good mom?
Punished for, trying to prolong her life so that she can be healthy for herself and for her child. So, I mean, yes, you could morally argue or state that it would have been a good idea to sentence this woman to jail and give her jail time for basically trying to do whatever she could to look after herself and her child and to prolong her life, just because marijuana isn't necessarily legal, especially when we know that there's ever-growing pressure for marijuana to be legal in different countries over the years to come.
I have no idea why, but I'm fine with anything that's medical. I'm cool with
Yeah, I mean, she used it medically, not recreationally, so it's not as if she was just taking it for the sake of taking it. There was a specific reason.
I think the argument was that it was in the house and that child could have had access to it, but the painkillers that child can get access to.
Yeah, exactly. With the painkillers,
Get a hammer, you can break it. You don't need to be. Nothing's childproof. If a child wants to get into it, he'll get into it. So.
Yes, I mean that's another argument. I mean, I believe that you're right on that one, but personally, I feel as if that. I mean, if the marijuana was a last resort, okay, yeah, fine, use that. I'm not saying she should have been sentenced, but we're not sure if she tried alternative methods
beforehand. The story I read a few years ago, I think it would probably be good if you look into it later on.
Sure, I mean, of course. I mean, what we can say for sure is that
she got arrested at the time. I know that for sure.
We morally believe that she shouldn't. That there should have been.
It's not even a case for me. This is like, I think people should use a bit of common sense. She's not using recreationally, and what? She just wanted to be better. I don't think. So people are saying it's illegal to kill yourself, but now it's illegal to cure yourself. So what?
Okay.
Where do you draw the line?
Sure. I mean, that's exactly the point. That's the point of this episode. Where do you draw the line between morality and legality? I mean, on the one hand, this woman, she knew that she would be obtaining this drug illegally, but on the other hand, it was only so that she could medically cure herself,
and she
that she could look after her child, and so that she could look after herself. Now, what are you supposed to do? Follow the law and, slowly, get worse, or don't follow the law and be cured of a disease that could harm the way of life for yourself and your children. I mean, logically, if you put the law aside, you'd argue that it was the right thing for her to do to take the medical marijuana, but legally, you could logically argue that as long as you're not following the law, you should be charged for something, for not following the law.
She's basically being punished for being alive.
Not for being alive, but for using marijuana. I'm sure if it was something legal.
No, if you think about purely, like, she went from being sick to being well, so she's being prosecuted for being well.
Well, it's one way to look at it, but the logic behind that would be that, as you obviously know, would be that she was prosecuted for using something that was illegal, not just for the state of being well. But I understand where you're coming from.
Didn't Kim Kardashian take a woman out of prison because she asked Trump to?
No, she asked Trump to. She asked Trump to. I don't know if she's been taken.
I thought she was released from prison, wasn't she?
Released, yes, she was released. I mean, yes, she was released from prison recently because of Kim Kardashian's intervention when she went to the White House. But go on from that point.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, she was released because Kim Kardashian went to the Trump she went to Trump and she went to the White House and she asked for Alice Mary Johnson to be pardoned for her crime.
I'm not sure. I don't know the details about the crime, but basically, basically she just got Trump to. I'm not sure if Trump just basically said release her, but I think that they probably looked at her case further and thought she hadn't done anything. Well, I think she wasn't related to a gang member. It was a gang-related crime, and she was the only one prosecuted.
Yeah, she apparently she had been released from prison after 21 years in prison. Yeah.
Sure. Well, she got out, so that's something. So ideally, well, back to the Crohn's disease, hopefully, I don't have to look into blood, I don't know her name or anything. Hopefully she got released as well. It's the whole legality thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's very true. I mean, but it's a good thing that this woman is released from prison. I mean, 21 years is a long time to be behind bars. So Jesus, let the woman live her life. And on that note, I believe we are done. Thank you all again for listening to another glorious podcast.
And always keep an open mind.
Yep, keep an open mind and make sure that you look out for our social media. We've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube.
SoundCloud is still under.
Yeah, we're not using SoundCloud right now, so we're uploading all of our episodes on YouTube only, and you'll get updates and relevant info on our podcasts on our social media. Bye for now from Ron and Hugh.
Bye.
See you later.